Hey, Shalom, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Wakakodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, and honors you, brothers, doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the true name of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai is the true name of whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Gonna get into it. This is which Biden recognizes as genocide the killing of 1.5 Armenians by Ottoman Turks. Okay, and as soon as this broke yesterday, or rather it's been in the talks for a couple of days, and I basically dropped a message to one of the Armenian camp who's his lineage is he's so-called Turkish, right? And basically, I was like, yo, isn't this gonna strain relationships between the United States and America, right? Because it's sort of like, the controversy when these different nations recognized, what was it? Move their embassy to Israeli territory or something like that. I forget exactly which place. It was in Israel, but it's things like, oh, okay, I got an example. If someone wants to recognize Taiwan as not being China, I believe it's Taiwan. Don't quote me on that. But basically, that has geopolitical meaning. Same with the Golan Heights. Same with Crimea. Crimea is a perfect example. Like, if the United States recognized Crimea as part of Russia, right, that would cause an issue, right? So this is another one of those instances where this has a geopolitical repercussions, right? So says Washington President Joe Biden on Saturday formally recognized a systematic killing of 1.5 million Armenians by the Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 23 as an act of genocide, a long-sought declaration among Armenian Americans that could further strain U.S.-Turkey relations, right? And you can read more into that, and it's very interesting, and it's proof that the Most High is working because when first, coming into the truth, when Turkey was a very, very strong ally to the United States, and you read the precepts where it basically says how Turkey would, start following and, rather be more aligned to Russia. Where I was kind of like, yo, how's this gonna happen? Then one day there was a coup attempt, right? And America didn't come out and help or anything. So then ever since then, right, they just started becoming more and more more and more Russia aligned, right? But that just goes to show you. In fact, let me grab this. This is in Proverbs 21:1. It says the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's the Most High in full control of everything that happens. So you might have a leader, they're trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm aligned with such and such person, right? But the Lord puts it in their spirit, right, to basically, go and do something else, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's the Most High, is the one that's in control of everything. That's what Sirach 18:3. Right, it says, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. Right, for he is the king of all, by his power dividing the holy things among them from the profane. So all things obey the Most High's will. Right, reading again Proverbs 21:1. Someone might be like, "Oh, but the elites really they're controlling all of these different things, and this alignment, it's all staged." Which even if it is, guess what? It's fulfillment of prophecy. Doesn't matter whether it's staged or not. It's a fulfillment of prophecy, man. Right? Because these things are, all leading up to the, to the big one, right? To the end all, be all, which is, that not end all, because you got things that are happening, but you go and have, the mark of the beast, which is, oh man, I said it, didn't I? You go and have, the MOB, which is going to be pushed out. And everything, right? It's going to be pushed out. And then after that, things are going to move quick, because the apostles say things are going to move quick. And then you go and start having, this Third World War, which is going to be over there, and mainly focus on the value of, Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, Moses' judgment, right? Yahweh's judgment, okay, which is that Middle East region, okay. And then at the end of it, America's going to be completely destroyed, right? So regardless of whether it's, staged or real, it's still fulfillment of prophecy. All right. And these things must needs come to pass. In fact, we can grab that as well in Isaiah 55 and 11. I'll also load up Romans, the 9th chapter, just so I can remember. Right, it says Isaiah 55:11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Right, so the Most High says something gonna happen. Guess what? It's gonna happen, man. Okay, why? Because the Most High is not a man that he should lie. Right, so that's why that's why Israel, we lucky, because of the amount of times we annoyed the Lord. Right, if the Most High did change, right, we'd be through. This is Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Yes, the Most High's not like us. We might be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and you have a change of heart. No, when the Most High says something's gonna happen, guess what's gonna happen, right? And one of the things that was gonna happen was, Turkey was gonna align towards, towards Russia. Okay. So this is Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Right? Because what you read Hosea 1, it says, lo are me, for ye are not my people. La am Yah. Right? Ye are not my people, and I will not be to you a God. Right? Now, because the Most High is not a man that he should lie, because the Most High doesn't change. Right? He knew this was going to happen. So from the very beginning, he had Yahweh Shai, right, prepared to be that mediator, right, so that we could be adopted back to the Most High. Okay, in fact, I think that's even in here where I'm reading, right? This is Romans 9:3. It's not what I wanted, but we can grab it, right? It says, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashayak, right, from my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, right, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. And once again, that adoption is, linking the children of Israel back to Yahweh, right? It says, and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law, around the service of the Most High and the promises. Okay, so that's how we were able to be linked back with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. The reason I actually wanted to get Romans 9, I will start from 15. It says, for he saith to Moses, right? It says, I will have mercy on whom I'll have mercy, and I have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy, right? Because that's the thing. Someone, and this is an important thing, you might see someone do something in this thing of ours, right? But what do you call it? And you might not, that thing may have been a bit, on the edge, right? But the Most High might have mercy on that particular individual. But then you go and do that same thing and you get fucked up. Excuse my French, but that's just what it is. You think of the case of King David, right? He committed adultery, man. He committed adultery, right? But the Most High, although the Most High still jacked up King David, right? The Most High didn't put King David to death. Okay, he just put the child that came off of that to death, which is painful, and everything. But right, the Most High, right, chose to have particular mercy on King David. However, you try and go do that, right? Most High will just put you to death in that act. Right, which a husband might come home and what they call the crimes of passion, man. Okay. But that's on one hand, but in terms of everything, the Most High can have mercy on whom you have mercy, right? Because hey, he's had mercy on the children of Israel, but hey, he's not gonna. Well, really, actually, because when you look into it, right, look, man. So yeah, so it says yeah. So let me carry on. Let me carry on before I start getting sidetracked into other things. Right, so it says, carrying on, verse 17, for the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Okay, so the Most High set up Pharaoh just to bring him down. Okay, just to bring him down, just so that the world can be like, yo, hey, that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua did that. Right, you read Judges, is it Judges or Joshua, I think it's Joshua, with Rahab the harlot. Well, where Rahab was like, look, man, we have heard, right, how the Most High Yahweh, delivered you out of the land of Egypt, Right now, but on this time around, read Revelation 1 and 7, it says, all eyes shall see him, i.e., when Yahushua returns in a chariot, right, with the so-called white man called UFOs. Right, every eye is going to see Yahushua come back. Right, so once again, in the kingdom, it's going to be another one of those things like, yo, man, we saw how Yahweh delivered you. Why? Because, your modern day Pharaoh is, your your Biden, your Trump or whatever. Okay, it says, therefore hath he mercy on whom he will mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. Okay. So everyone's under the control of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And Romans 9, that's a one of the best cuts to this idea of free will. Okay, so back into the into to the what the article triggered, right? So Biden recognizes as genocide the killings of 1.5 Armenians by Ottoman Turks, right? And the potential further straining of U.S.-Turkey relations, right? So this is Ezekiel 38th chapter, right? It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, right, a son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right, it says Gog, the land of Magog. Right, it says, although originally Japhites, this is now referring to Russia, as that's who inhabits these lands. Okay. It says, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, or, roughly speaking, right? It says, and at verse 3, it says, and say, thus saith the Lord power, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, right? Because these Russians, they're still Edomites, man, right? They are still Edomites. Okay, so there's nothing what's the word I'm looking for? So it's not like you can be like, the Americans. I'll be honest, when I first came in, you look at the American Edomites, American Edomites, and I'll be like, yeah, Russia, whatever, but they're both Edomites, man. So that's what it means, I'm against thee. Right? It says, and I'll turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaw, turn you back into that, what do you call it, that, that old war, that Cold War rather mentality, back into that sort of mentality. And I'll bring forth all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right, nothing else said. Right, it says Persia, right, and what's Persia? Persia is Iran. Okay, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Says Gomer and all his bands, right? So Gomer and Togarmah are ancient places which are now in what would be called Turkey. Okay, so that's how we're able to, determine who this is speaking about, right? Gomer, right? Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, and the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a God unto them, right? And what that means there, God unto them, that's speaking about being the protector, right? Just like how America is a God unto Israel, right? Russia is a God unto these Iranians, okay? These Iranians, these Turks, Ethiopia and Libya. And we're going to be seeing that play out more and more. Okay, let me see what other, what do you call it? Just I got the breakdown there, so took it when Apostle Ram was doing his video, breaking down Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Right, so verse 8 says, "In many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter days thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them." Right, so brought back from the sword, America's never been touched. Right, many people, referring to Revelation 17 and 15, against the mountains of Israel. Right, the region 8 says the region of Israel says shall dwell safely. The real Israelites will eventually inhabit the land of Israel in peace. Right, verse 9 says, "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands." Right, and many people with thee. Right, bands representing the different military men. Right, so thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind. and thou shalt think an evil thought, right? It says the Lord will put it in the mind of the Russians to attack America. Okay, and once again, that brings us back to what we read over there in Proverbs 21, right? It's Proverbs 21 from the top. It says the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, right? As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will, right? Who have resisted his will? That's the question, right? Now it says, and thou shalt say, right, I'll go up to the land of unwalled villages. I'll go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, right? Land of unwalled villages being America, them that are at rest, America and the state of Israel. All right, it says, yeah, I've got no more breakdowns there, so what do you call it? So I won't go further. And like I said, you took those notes taken from Apostle Rhymelab's video on the matter, but yeah, man, we're seeing how the world's moving. We're seeing the Lord, playing chess up in the world, and we're just praying that the Most High further pushes, for our cause, man. Right, the Most High puts it in this, spirit of these different kings and rulers to basically do certain acts so that Lord's will, we can be delivered, be delivered this year, right, early next year, right, be delivered as soon as possible. Okay, so as always, Lord's will, that was edifying. Till the next time I say, Shalom.